Hi, Rich Harrington here, and I am getting ready to head out to this year's Consumer Electronics Show, and I decided to give you a peek what gear I'm bringing to cover the show as media. So each year, the CES show is held in Las Vegas. All sorts of great companies get together. We see gear, we see new cameras, we see brand new tech. I love going through the more experimental sections where you've got colleges and startup companies showing off their new stuff. It's pretty cool, the Eureka Park area. And what we're going to do here is cover the show. And in order to do that, we need to be light and mobile. Why light and mobile? Well, we're going to be on our feet for 5 days, walking miles. So schlepping a bunch of gear is not going to be an option. So I'm going to show you what I'm bringing. It's a crew of 2. Me and my son are actually going together, and he's going to help me with coverage. And let me walk you through how we're choosing to lens this thing. All right, to start things off, I've got my Insta360 kit here, and let me explain why. So we'll open it up, and I'll do a quick breakdown on what we're looking at. All right, let's set the audio aside. We'll talk about audio a little bit later and walk you through the primary equipment. First up, we're going to need something to photograph from. Now, I've got a few different options here. In my kit, normally I keep the selfie stick that they offer. They call this the invisible selfie stick technology. What's pretty cool about this is that the camera basically stitches it out. But this gets a little bit short for needing to do stand-ups. So how are we going to pull that off? Well, 2 different ways. Because I want something robust and solid, I'm bringing a monopod here that actually has feet. This is going to make it a little bit easier to drop this when needed, like effectively a tripod, without having to carry the weight of a tripod. You see, nice, simple here, easy. And then this just telescopes. So with a quick drop, as we open this up, I can get to whatever height I end up needing. And you see, it's actually taller than me. So if we need to get over the crowds, we can and photograph down. And this works very well. We can just place that and it actually works freestanding. And I like this. It's easy to mount a camera to. It's easy to mount my still camera to. It gives me a great platform. But sometimes this looks a little scary to folks. Now, I'm going to the show with a press badge, so it shouldn't be a big deal to actually photograph things. But sometimes if you're doing coverage at events, showing up with more professional looking equipment like this gets some eyeballs, which is why I'm traveling with this little guy. Now, it's got its own sort of selfie stick, and this is really useful with the Insta360 because you could sort of go into a spear or a bayonet-like mode, just putting the camera right in front of you as you walk, and it's really easy to get stabilized shots. Telescope, put it overhead, tuck it into a backpack, that's fine. And on the bottom here, as I open this up, you see it also has an integrated tripod, but plastic, and we all know that plastic sometimes breaks, which is why I'm traveling with 3 pieces of camera stability, at least for this camera. And these can also do double duty because I can use them with my photo camera when I need to get a little bit more stable shots there as well. Okay, let's break it down. Now, of course we have power. You're always going to need power. How much power? I'm traveling with 5 batteries. That should give me a full day's coverage, even if I was rolling almost nonstop, which I'm not going to be because we have to walk around, talk to folks. But let's talk a little bit more about the camera itself. So what do we have here? Well, this is the Insta360 X4, and it is a 360-degree action camera. Now, this may sound strange to think 360, but I'm not actually going to be capturing 360 with this. Rather, I'm going to be using its 8K sensor to capture a lot of HD footage or even up to 4K footage because it can photograph in one direction or in all directions, and this gives me a lot of flexibility during capture. Also, this is the newer model. It's got a great 1.9 aperture, so plenty of low light resolution. Now, it does have some photo capabilities, but I'm not going to be using those. I'm going to rely on my Fujifilm camera, which we'll talk more about in just a little bit. But let's kind of walk through what we have here. Now, I've put on the optional lens protection guards. These are things that can be easily removed. But the benefit here is it just provides a little extra layer of protection there, Because I have broken a lens on one of these before. How? Somebody bumped into the monopod. It fell to the ground. It hit a hard surface. I scratched the lens. I also cracked one. I've learned that this extra layer of protection, good idea. It's what's going to hit first. Now, to mount this, couple things in play. I've got a frame here, and I recommend this because it's going to give you more mounting points. Now, I've attached the quick release option here, which makes it easy to go on and off. So this will just attach easily to the monopod. And then if I need to pull the camera off, it's just a quick lift. Now, here we are. Let's open up that frame. And the camera drops in. Now, it's important as you're doing this to pay attention. The sides are going to line up, and you want to make sure things are free and clear. You may also notice that I've removed the audio door here. We'll talk more about that in just a second. All right, let's lock that in. It's in good shape. And a couple things to keep in mind. Why did we attach this here? Well, this is giving us some extra mounting points, including this little flyout here where the mic is going to go later, or more accurately, the mic receiver. Also, I've got some mounting points here on the sides, which will come in handy. What for? Well, we might need a little extra light. Conference halls are notoriously low light situations, and now I've got some extra mounting points. Simple USB-C light here. This one's from Aperture, and I can just take that and align it. Now, generally speaking, the control screen is going to be facing back towards the operator. So let's just line this way so the primary light is going forward on the subject. But if I'm going to be using this in selfie mode and I want to see it's recording, I could just flip that the other direction. So if I've got a crew person and they're standing behind monitoring, point the light forward. Otherwise, just flip it over. What's nice here is this will just thread into place. There we go. And with a quick, easy option, you've got just a little bit of extra light. So you can see here, basic controls, on-off switch, and it doesn't take much light. So if you power these guys down to a lower overall strength, that little bit of light is going to go a long way. Now, what's key here is it needs to be in this area. If you take a line here over the top, you'll see how this is in line. This space here is effectively a dead zone. That's why the selfie stick disappears, because these ultra wide angle lenses stitch, and this area, as long as it's aligned, disappears. But you want to be careful. That's why we've got the little area here for the mic receiver to go as well. And these mounting points will come in handy. So pretty cool overall. Now, what do you need to know about the camera? Well, it's got great stabilization. I'm always amazed at what this is able to do, including its ability to lock the horizon. So even handheld walking shots look pretty amazingly stable. The batteries are rated for 135 minutes of record time. That's why I've got 5. That should be a good long day. Although I do recommend, like most cameras, go into the menu settings, set it to power off after 3 to 5 minutes of inactivity. These cameras boot quite quickly, so you'll have no problem getting them up and running again. And I am charging a separate portable charger here, so I can charge 3 batteries at once if I need to. Now, the camera itself, super lightweight, 203 grams, easily connects with your smartphone, so you can make adjustments. And you've got a large touchscreen on the back, very easy. Can also accommodate a 1 terabyte memory card, so you can do plenty of active recording. What I really like is the active HDR mode, which works really well for recording in lower light situations. So the Insta360, fantastic action camera, really going to help get things done when we're in the field. I love the flexibility of this thing, particularly the long battery life and how easy it is to just pull out shots after the fact. So we're in a run and gun situation, and with the 8K resolution, I'll be able to grab the shots I need in post and just pull them out thanks to a great real-time editing plugin available for Premiere Pro, which allows me just to drop the footage in and work with it, as well as reframe it right in the timeline very easily. panning around, everything else. Plus, inside the mobile app, you can actually actively track your subject and do pretty cool things. And they have a desktop application as well for doing things like reframing, stabilizing, motion tracking, time-lapse effects. It's really quite cool. Hyperlapses. I'll be using this throughout the week and you'll see footage in our coverage. Okay, I mentioned that we have audio. Let's talk about what that does. Now, the camera mics are like all camera mics. They work, they're okay for reference, that's about it. So you're gonna want to attach a microphone, but you don't want to be wired to this thing. That's not gonna work. So what can we do? Well, fortunately, Insta360 has a great audio adapter. You just carefully remove the door on the side. Now, as I'm looking at the camera here and figuring this out, I can see a problem already. See, like, oh, here. Fortunately, this camera can shoot front or back, so no big deal. We'll just pop that out and reverse the direction. And you see, easy enough. It goes in both directions, which is cool. It's a lot like a USB-C cable. All right, let's slide that in. Good. And then just line up the USB-C port, and the little tiny latch here will actually catch that top area, and it snaps into place and stays very firmly. Now, it's not weight bearing, obviously, but it stays in nicely. Now, let's attach the receiver. So this is the Rode Go mic system. I'm using version 2. They've got a few different flavors out there. They're all really similar, and you'll find multiple ones on the market. If you want more accessories, they sell a Pro kit that has a lot of the options built in. But it has a receiver. What's cool about these is they're just USB-C, they're battery operated. You can plug it back into the rechargeable case. And what's awesome is they're updatable. You can even just plug them right into your computer or even your smartphone to do software updates, which I've done, which is cool. And they've released features like internal recording and other great things that you can get. We'll just power it on, push the button on the bottom. There we go. And right now you can see nothing is connected because both my mics are off. Now here, it's got a simple clip. We're just going to take that, line it up with this plate, and slip it over. Now you might be concerned that it's technically clipped on upside down, but it's going nowhere. This is designed to fit really snugly. And then you take the audio cable and just going to connect it like so. Now, here you see it's going out a little bit. We can switch this around so that this is running upward, less tension. And now we've got a little bit more give, and that's a better fit. Again, that falls into that dead zone, but if it did not, you can tuck it around, tape it down, etc. But it should stay in that safety zone and not get picked up by the camera itself. Okay, so now we've got that attached. That's cool. If I tack it on, you see it's waiting. Here's the receivers. Now, I'm not going to go through all the process of pairing, but these are pretty cool. It's an ultra compact system, dual channel wireless, which is great, and it allows you to easily connect these two transmitters to the receiver, giving you dedicated sources. Now, you just push the button until it powers on, and once you do, it takes a second of holding it down so that these don't accidentally turn on. You see that it connects, and then the blue light indicates a link. And if we take a look here, you can see that we've actually got audio coming through just fine, which is pretty cool. Now, I've used the optional color coding so that I can pay attention to which mic is which, so I keep using the same microphone. This will cut down on me switching mics and always keep channel 1 me, channel 2 the guest I'm talking to. And these are simple enough that you can actually just clip these right on and use them as a mic. That works pretty well. Or you've got accessories, because, who doesn't love accessories? So there's a simple windscreen if you're going to be working in a loud environment, and that can actually just come and attach right on top, and it twists into place, which is cool. I tend to like to go a little bit more professional. You've got your lavalier microphone that you can clip onto your subject. Now, this is all well and good, and when this is going, you'll see that it actually is getting picked up here. It's transmitting just fine to this. I can have one channel on, I can have two channels on, easy enough. But we mentioned that recording can sometimes have problems, which is why we do backup. What's really cool is you can set these to record internally at pro quality or get about 20 hours by using a compressed format, which is what I'm going to do by using it for backup. So as soon as this mic is turned on, it's in backup recording mode. So you're getting all the audio, you're getting everything you need. As soon as you power it on, it's doing a backup recording. There's nothing to miss. That way, if somebody doesn't hit the right button, you didn't lose out on the audio. You could do an audio podcast, or you've got backup if there was interference. At a trade show, sending from this to this wirelessly, you'd think no big deal. But this is the Consumer Electronics Show. There's going to be more equipment, Wi-Fi networks, and devices per square foot than anywhere on the planet. So if there would be interference, it would be here, although this thing is pretty amazing with how well it does of handling that. And it should be just fine with being able to get through and be able to capture great audio. So what do we need to know? This is a really compact system. I love that fact. 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, and it allows you to have both mics going into the camera. And it can actually keep each one separate. So you've got one person on one channel, one on the other. If you don't want that, you can adjust that in the software, but I like to keep things independent to make it easy. It has a range of up to 200 meters line of sight. You're not going to be that far away recording, but with that onboard recording, you've got that backup, which is pretty cool, and you'll get 20 plus hours of internal recording if you use the compressed format. Now, the mics are omnidirectional, but I recommend the lavalier mic so you can place it on your subject. But if it's run and gun, it's no big deal. You could just take one of these mics and clip them on. It can have a built-in mic right on it, which allows you to pull that in. USB-C for charging makes it easy to charge on the go, or even directly connected for a device to transfer files. And you can set it to have auto levels, and it does a pretty good job of maintaining those levels to avoid clipping. And if you need to, you can even do safety recording, so one channel is always at -20 dB, which is pretty cool. These things are so light, you'll never know that you have them, but make sure when you walk away from your subject, you don't leave them behind. It's really easy to kind of forget them because you are just going on to the next thing and you left it clipped onto your person in the booth. This works great and makes my audio system really quite flexible, but what am I doing photographically? A lot of you know I'm a fan of Fujifilm, and I'm going to be taking my X100VI because I love the straight out of camera images. The JPEGs or HEIC files have the capacity to hold really nice film simulations, and the images are just ready to use. I'm going to be run and gun here, and I need to share quickly. Plus, this can pair with my mobile phone, making it really easy to upload and take stills as I go. 2 cameras? Yes. This way I've got backup. Now, I'm primarily going to be using this for stills, and I'll explain why, but it does do great video as well. Now, the X100VI is definitely a premium compact camera. They're a little hard to come by. It's a popular series, but it's a 40.2 megapixel sensor, APS-C, really good at being able to capture in lots of light situations. I like that we've got really good options here for adjusting right with the physical dials. It makes it easy to see things and know what I'm getting. Now, I've modified mine just a little bit. I've got a grip attached, which makes it easier for me to hold. I'm using simple straps here. I've got the Peak Design system, making it easy to go from a wrist strap to a shoulder strap, and a good Argus Swiss mounting plate on the bottom so I can easily swap my gear around. Now, the viewfinder is built in. It's a hybrid viewfinder, which is cool. You can actually use it as an optical viewfinder or an electronic viewfinder. And we have a nice tilt screen, which makes it easy, for example, to tilt down so I can hold up overhead if I'm shooting in a crowd, or flip it up so that when I'm shooting tabletops and such, I can easily see what I'm doing and just operate right from the screen here, tapping to focus or even trigger the shot. Now, why a stills camera? Well, I'm going to be blogging. I need higher quality images than just video frame grabs, and this thing's outstanding. Now, a lot of folks are curious, why the fixed lens? Well, that's because it's compact, but one thing that's not known is that you can actually press down here and turn, and that'll loosen it, and then it threads right off, which is pretty cool. Why? Well, because there's actually 2 lenses for this fixed lens camera. Now, this is something a lot of folks don't realize, but there's a wide-angle lens and a more teleconverted lens, and you just thread that right on. And once it's attached, a little magnet inside the lens automatically lets the camera know that there's a different lens attached, and it adjusts everything, including the metadata, which is pretty cool. So this gives me flexibility, and I can have both lenses in my pocket, easy to switch to. That works great. I'm going to be shooting in tough lighting situations. So I'm bringing the ProPhoto C1. This is a discontinued item, but you can still find them out there, and there's other options. What's nice about this is it can be used as a video light or a great flash, and we've got our diffuser on it, which is pretty cool. And it also just charges via USB-C. You can see there, easy flash. And I just pop my receiver right on the top here, and I've got the ability to really pop the light in that situation. That way I can get high quality stills, don't need to worry about grainy images, soft focus, etc. I'm taking the Platypod grip. Normally I use this with a cell phone, but this easily twirls right off. And you can use this as a really simple tripod. So this way I could just take that, easily adjust like so, and just twirl that into the bottom. The benefit of having the plate here is I've got extra mounting points, makes that easy. There we go. Now I can easily, in the booth, shoot high quality product photography of all the new releases. Gives me that ability just to quickly adjust, trigger the shots, and dial that in. And as we mentioned, with the articulating screen here, it's pretty easy to flip that out. Notice there's a digital teleconverter. There we go. Making it nice and easy to punch in. And I can get quite the shots here for details while I'm photographing. Now, obviously, I'd normally be using the strobe, but I just want you to see how we can actually get an image there. There we are. And I've got physical controls right there. So it's easy for me to dial in and, WYSIWYG, what I see is what I get. Or I could just put that into more of an auto mode if I'm just feeling a touch lazy, and use options there like exposure compensation to pull that off and get the shot. And as we mentioned, the ability to tap to focus is pretty awesome as you see that. Now I can change how that's mapped. For example, if I don't want to use the digital teleconverter, I could just switch that over. And now the turn of the dial takes me through my different film simulations, which is pretty cool. So I can go with something nice and rich here like Reala or Velvia. There we go. And with the built-in aperture control ring, it makes it simple to target that and pull off the shot. Again, we can tap to focus, easily move that around, and this is going to be great for product photography. Now, I'm bringing this mostly for stills, but it's always good to have a backup camera, and I feel bad calling this a backup video camera. Great in-body image stabilization. It's got really good dynamic range. It can record ProRes. It can record log. It's got 6K video. It really is a robust video camera. It's even got camera to cloud, so I could directly upload. I'm going to be using it mostly for stills, but because it's small and compact and not obtrusive, I can also shoot pro quality video really discreetly. Or if my camera person is running around doing other things or I need an extra angle, this is super easy to handhold, get in there, and capture extra video. 6.2K video, 30 frames per second, internal, ProRes recording. It's really amazing. It just allows for great capture. And what's really nice here, of course, about the X100VI series is just the ruggedness, the feeling, all the dials. It's just really easy to use. And I'm really happy with this as my solution for the show. Okay, I know that was pretty in-depth. I hope you guys are as much of a nerd as I am. If you made it this far, you probably are. Be sure to keep an eye on Photo Focus, and I'll be posting stories there from CES. You'll see this gear in action, and I'll also do a write-up about more details with links and such on the blog. And this will kind of help you go just a bit deeper if you want to explore any more of this equipment or see some extra behind-the-scenes images or clips from the show itself. My name's Rich Harrington. I'm looking forward to CES, and thanks for checking this out.